All right, hi everyone. It's Coaches Katie,
and Ashley,
and we are the C in Strive TLC.
supporting the coaches who support our teachers.
Today's topic is the beginning of the year PD.
Yes, and we have a special visitor that we're going to ask to introduce herself. Heidi, would you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I have been an educator 35 years. So I spent 28 years in the classroom, and then I spent the last 7 years coaching. So I'm coaching in Utah, and I'm in the largest school district in Utah. So we are actually lucky enough to have a coach in every elementary school building. So it's been a great gig for me.
Awesome. Awesome. And you're kind of in the beginning of the school year right now. And we were talking the other day about you're in the process of developing those beginning of the school year professional developments for educators. So we wanted to pick your brain a little bit today and talk about how you go about the planning and delivery of those PDs at the beginning of the year.
Great. Yeah. That is a kind of a heavy load on the coach, but it definitely shouldn't be something they do on their own, right? Um, we just finished a PD a few weeks ago where we had planned it in May, and then things changed so much in the summer, we really had to change a lot of it. But working with my administrators, my assistant principal and vice principal, and then we brought in a few other people from the district to help with that, so we could meet the needs of all of our teachers.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Heidi. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great to think about PD in May for the following school year, but then reevaluate what you're doing for those teachers that, for any situation that might happen over the summer. Now, that's great.
Yeah, we met in May, and if I remember right, it was right after school was out, and listed some things out that my administrators had seen in walkthroughs and evaluations, things they knew would support the students and the teachers and some better learning. And then I also put in a few things as well that were ideas. I am lucky enough to meet with each of the teams, so as I meet in their collaborations, then I can pick up on things that may be needed as they're working with their students. So between all of our input, we came up with some ideas. And then, of course, things change over the summer. We actually had a boundary change in July. So we got a whole new section of students. And so that caused us to rethink. We got a little bit more of an EL population. So we brought in somebody from the district to help us with some PD for that with our teachers. And what ended up happening is we did a workshop style where we offered 6 classes, and then they got to pick 3. And we've got some really good feedback on that because we have some really experienced teachers, but then we'd also hired, I think, 5 new teachers at the last minute, and they needed some more basic things. So it worked out really well to try and meet the needs of each of them.
That's wonderful. I'm sure the teachers really appreciated your attention to detail on that and differentiation for those pieces. So it sounds like you really started with a foundation of some sort of data, whether it be student data or walkthrough data or just those informal conversations that you're having with educators, and then you kept it pretty flexible. So the workshop model that you did, how did you go about incorporating engagement strategies for teachers with that model?
Well, I think it comes back to that as coaches, we really have to model the best teaching strategies. And I do think teachers need to be reminded often about good engagement strategies, but also as teachers, nobody likes to sit around and listen for an hour or 2 hours or more. So being able to think through how you're going to present this material to the teachers, but also in a way that A, is engaging, and B, they'll be able to remember it. So one of the things I really love are the engagement cards that we have at Strive, that you guys have at Strive. So I used some of those ideas, just, to have conversations with people in a different way. I mean, turn and talk is fun, but not all the time during a professional development. So thinking about different ways that we can have them engage in that and have conversations with the people around them. it really does make a difference for the teachers. That's how they can retain that information.
Sure.
I love what you said about that. Yeah. Sorry, Ashley, but I love what you said about that. Modeling as coaches. If we want to see active engagement in the classroom, and we know that really works, and opportunities to respond and all those wonderful strategies, then as coaches, we need to be modeling them. And I think it helps teachers retain those strategies better when they experience them. So it sounds like you open that up for your teachers in your PD.
Definitely. Something I've thought about as well is trying to think about how this can lead me to help them in their classrooms, so that in the PD I can offer some ideas and suggestions and then carry that forward, so that, because I mean, we all know the data shows that, if you're just taught it, it's hard to implement it in your classroom because you have so many things going on. But if you have somebody that will work with you and coach you on something, then you're more likely to implement it and feel more successful as you implement it. So I always think, okay, how can I take this and either offer it as a coaching cycle or as a mini model or as a co-teach, so that PD can really open the door for me to really support those teachers in the way that I like to do it.
Heidi, how have you, what methods have you found to get into coaching cycles after professional development? Because those are so impactful, but sometimes they're hard to start with educators. So how do you make those connections?
That is tricky. So sometimes, especially at the end, somebody says, I really like that, but I was curious about this. And I'm like, I would love to talk to you more about that. Can I meet with you at this time? And that's just a little bit of a foot in the door. And as you talk with them, you can figure out their needs, and you can work that into a coaching cycle if needed, or maybe it's just a resource support. As coaches, there's a lot of different hats we wear, but a lot of times, even somebody, I did one on effective planning, creating a plan book or using a plan book. And somebody came up and said, you know what? I like creating my own plan book, but I've never done that before. Can you help me? And so as we sat, I scheduled a time to meet with her. And as we sat down, we worked that out. And then it's like, well, have you done this? It was a phonemic awareness activity as we were looking at her schedule, and she hadn't. So then that worked a way in for me to be able to come in and say, can I model that? Can I support you in that? And so it wasn't a full-on coaching cycle, because really it was a model and then a little bit of a co-teach and then an observation. I guess it was kind of a mini coaching cycle, but yeah, just those types of things. And that way teachers know that they are heard, right? They when they ask for something and they're excited about a PD, then they know that they're heard and that you'll support them further in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like
I love that. I love that as well, Heidi. I think the biggest thing coaches need to walk away with is you have to listen and you have to really hear what they're saying, but you also have to know those teachers and if they're open for some extra coaching, right? You have to be able to see the whole situation and understand where your staff is coming from. And you're very fortunate because you have one school that you're working with. So I'm sure you get to know your teachers really well, which is really lucky and fortunate for your schools in Utah.
Yeah, it is lucky. And it's all about that relationship building. I know people that I do know who have multiple schools. It's a little trickier, but they are able to open it up in a little bit different way, like let teachers sign up to do things, or they specifically target a few teachers who they know are more of the, what do you call those? Like your school leaders, but not really the leaders. There's a name for it, but the school leaders who, once you start working in somebody else's room, everybody else gets excited about it. And so they kind of leverage their power that way.
Yeah, exactly. As you're spot on all of that. It gets that excitement, like you're saying, in one classroom, and then all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I want to try that. And that's what it's about. I think as coaches, we need to just realize that some of this happens naturally if you're open and you're recognizing all the little pieces that are coming together. You can't force a coaching cycle.
No.
It just doesn't work that way. And to be open to those teachers who are maybe saying, hey, could you show me a little bit about this lesson planning, and then going with it. And that's where the magic happens with coaching.
Oh, definitely. And then it's so fun. I mean, it's just like you are as a teacher. It's so fun when you see those teachers trying something that they learned and feeling that success. That's the joy of coaching for me, is like they're like, oh, wow, that was so powerful. My students really got that concept, and I felt like it really stayed. So it's exciting when you see that as a coach.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, Heidi, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing some of your tips and tricks for that beginning of the school year professional development. And we'll share too, Heidi talked about the engagement strategy cards from Strive. We'll link those in the notes, and then also we'll link our professional development and meetings bundle in the notes as well. And they might support a lot of the things that she talked about today when she was sharing about her great professional development.
Thanks so much for having me today. It was so nice to visit with you both.
Yeah, thanks Heidi for coming. Another thing I thought of too is Heidi was mentioning differentiating her coaching. Like some teachers don't need as much coaching, those teacher leaders. So you can check out the bundles as well. There's a differentiated coaching bundle on Strive's site that might help you as well in knowing how to deal with all the teachers in their different stages they are as educators.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
Remember, we're Strive TLC, supporting teachers, leaders, and of course, all you wonderful coaches.
Bye.